welcome back to my channel. This is Joe Bren. So thank you so much for watching all my videos, for sending your likes, your comments. So it really means a lot to me. So this is my channel. Welcome to the Free Mind. Okay, so the Free Mind. Welcome to the Free Mind. I hope you like this video. I hope you learned a lot for this very quick video. Today's I'll be continuing the discussion that we had last meeting. So we will be discussing a subtopic about the new challenges to human adaptation and social change. So just to give you a short recap, so when you talk about adaptation, it is a process and a content. It is a process and its outcome. I mean, so a process, it needs to be processed. It needs to be exercised, to practice, to adapt to a lot of things. So we are influenced by our genetic makeup. We are influenced by a lot of people that we are in. So now is we will be discussing the three branches in understanding human cultural diversity. So we need to explore culture and society to understand human behavior. I also need to understand human behavior. Even if I am a psychology graduate, a licensed psychometrician, I still need to learn more. So I need to, if I really want to know what is going on with our human behavior, is I need to explore culture and society. So first thing that we need to understand is the anthropological perspective of culture diversity. So when it comes to understanding diversity in culture, the anthropological view can help humanity understand and appreciate the complexity of diverse culture. So it's hard to understand human behavior. Human behavior is unpredictable. Now you are okay, tomorrow you will not be okay. Today you are happy, tomorrow you are sad. So it's unpredictable. So the anthropological view can help humanity understand the complexity of diverse culture. This discipline involves the study of biological and cultural origins of the human. So biology, the study of life. So cultural anthropology explains cultural diversity through aspect of social life. So they are trying to explain human behavior by understanding our social life, our ability to blend, our ability to take care of ourselves, what is going on with our social life, our development. So in explaining and interpreting the diverse culture, anthropology uses ethnography. So ethnography meaning they are trying to describe particular culture. So if you're living here in Isabel, Bisaya, so we also have our own culture. And ethnology is trying to compare two or more cultures. So here in Isabel, we have our culture. We also have our own subculture. Um, Anthropological perspective, they are trying to compare two or more cultures to understand a human behavior. So the process of studying anthropology is also valuable because it helps us to develop as human beings. So for example, if you are if you are living in a if you are studying in a different country, so you also need to adapt to the change that you are in, the culture that you are in. So part of this is you need to blend the behavior that they are in, the food that they are taking, the diet that they are taking, for you to become a more valuable, for you to develop valuable skills in understanding diverse culture. You will now become a multicultural diverse competence. That's why if you transfer to another school, you also need to do human adaptation and social change. You are not comfortable to that change because you are new. Part of that, according to anthropological perspective of cultural diversity, is you need to understand your social life, material culture, your social organizations. You need to compare two or more cultures to understand human behavior. You need not to focus on yourself. You need not to just neglect others' culture. You also need to be adaptable. Be adaptable to the culture, to the new culture that you are in. So if you are working If you are working in an industrial setting and then you're transferred to academic, you also need to adapt. So life is flexibility and adaptability is a must. They are both important thing to consider, especially in um, understanding human behavior. So a basic anthropological strategy for understanding culture is to look at a cultural feature from within its original context rather than looking at it from perspective of one's culture. Meaning you looked at it, you look when you talk about anthropological perspective, is you look the culture not just for your own culture, but you look at the bigger space. You need to look within its original context rather than looking it to yourself. So being non-judgmental and open to new ways of thinking is vital in understanding culture. Okay, so being non-judgmental and very open to new ways of thinking is vital in understanding culture. So balancing contradictory needs instead of trying to eliminate them, emphasize global teamwork, develop a cognitive complex which is made of twin abilities of differentiating and integrating and trying to balance everything despite of our differences. That's why I am very when I commit mistakes, I am very open to say sorry. There's nothing wrong with saying sorry. Sorry for me is way of the way of respecting the person. Even if I get hurt, I just I think it's very important to say sorry despite our differences. um Sorry for me is very valuable. It shows my respect to the person even if we encounter some clashes of ideas or thoughts. So it's respecting. So if the person is not yet comfortable talking to me, I normally just give her that space because it for me it's a sign of respect and that is my culture. So the strategy will not only help you personally in the understanding other culture, but assist you in integrating to any culture globally. If you're dealing with um, new people living with different cultures, especially if they are foreigners, they have different culture. So Pinoy and a foreigner, no. So you need to know how to blend in. That's why if you are planning to go abroad to work there, a lot of human adaptation and social change they are badly needed for you to survive that new environment. Okay, so that's the anthropological perspective on cultural diversity. Do not just look to yourself, you also need to consider the original context of their own culture. Be open to new ways of thinking, be open to new ways of integrating their culture to your culture. So another perspective is the sociological perspective on cultural diversity. So what is sociology? Sociology is critical analysis of the society, the study of the society in which humans live. So they are studying society, what's going on with us, what's happening with us. People work make sense of the social world past, present, and future as referred to as sociologists. So we make sense of our past, not just our future. We make sense of the past, present, and future. So social interaction amongst humans is the basic sociological concept because all humans and groups that make up a society socialize. We are socializing each other despite of our differences, our clashes. Every day we are interacting with one another. So a society is not culturally uniform because we are living in a different culture. As societies develop and become more complex, different cultural traditions appear. And that is very true. The more we are, today we are living in a very fast paced environment. We have our artificial intelligence, no, very techy. We are living in a very digital age. So as we develop, societies develop, the more we become more complicated, more complex, and a lot of cultural traditions appear. Sometimes uh our old traditions, sometimes it changes from the way we are doing that, from the way that we are using that one up today. So the more complex the society, the more likely the culture will be internally varied and diverse. So the more complex the society, the more likely the culture will be internally varied and diverse. So the causes of cultural changes in a society are cultural diffusion, innovation, and imposition of cultural change by outside world. There are a lot of changes that we are experiencing now, aside from the behavior. There are a lot of things that we are doing that is truly changing us. So we are trying to blend in because of a lot of innovations. We are thinking a lot. The more we become so complex, the more we become so diverse. Um, the generation of today, they are doing things a lot more complex. They are thinking a lot. They are doing some innovations, which is good, which is good. So imposition of cultural change by outside world. So a lot of things that are happening today that sometimes we are not aware that this is truly happening because of the social media. People can connect to one another because of a lot of things, a lot of photos. We are influenced the way we behave, the way we think, the way we act. We are influenced by our society. Society is very important in molding how we think and how we perceive. There are two concepts from sociology help in understanding the complexity in a given culture. So there are two concepts. We have the dominant culture and the subculture. What is the dominant culture? Dominant culture is the culture of the most powerful group in the society. The most powerful. So they are very dominant. Okay, so subcultures, on the other hand, are cultures of group whose values and norms of behavior differ from those of dominant culture. So our culture, as Pinoy, this is our dominant culture. But there are also some people who are also doing some subculture. They are doing their own culture, but they truly differ when it comes to norms and behavior, differ from those of the dominant. So members of subcultures tend to interact frequently and share a common worldview. So, for example, of subculture, perfect example is we still have our uh, indigenous people. They are also having their own subculture. They are doing their values and norms. They are setting their own standards, and we respect that. Members of subcultures, they also share a common worldview. So sociology stipulates that culture consists both material object and abstract thoughts and behavior. Several elements which sociologists consider in understanding culture diversity are language, norms, belief, and value. So again, we just need to respect that because again, we are having subcultures, dominant culture. So for us to understand better about cultural diversity, is we need to explain a bit language. So learning the language of a culture is essential to becoming part of a society. So here in Isabel, we are speaking Bisaya. So I am part of the society, Isabel. So I learned the way we speak. It's quite hard compared to the people in Bacolod City. They're very soft spoken. But here in Isabel, we are hard spoken. No? We, when you hear us talking, it seems that we are angry all the time. Like, noon sa mga uy, sumuka ni mo, uy. So, we do that. But it's natural. It is part of us. So we are not angry. It's just how we shape. So language shapes culture as it provides the categories through which the social reality is understood. So again, it is not that you perceive something first and then think of how to express it, but the language itself determines what you think and perceive. So, so when you talk to Bisaya people, you will find that our language very unique, um, very unique and very different. But That's how. But when we speak, it determines how you perceive us as humans. So it's part of that. So number two in understanding cultural diversity is the norms. The norms is they are our standards. So there are specific cultural expectation for how to behave in a given situation. The lack of norms in any society, if the society doesn't have any standards, so there will be conflict, there will be clashes. So we need to have standards, the norms to act, behave, and interact in a society properly. So when we go to church, we need to be formal, we need to be to respect that we are in a church. When we teach, we need to be uh, look like a teacher, be professional. We laugh, but we make sure that we are teaching effectively. So that's how we behave. We need to put norms, put standards. How about the belief? Belief is there are shared ideas of people in a given culture. So, and this belief are also the basis of many cultural norms and behaviors. So we have our belief, have our perception. So sociologists study belief in a variety of ways. And our perception, it is our shared ideas of people. And we have our own belief, and other people also have their own belief. How about values? Values, they are abstract standards in a society or a group. So it is an abstract standard in a society or group that defines the ideal principle of what is desirable or morally correct. Values provide values for behavior, but can also be a source of conflict. So I have my own values. Values are the thing that is very important to me. I have my own standards. Sometimes my standards may not be terrible to anybody, but values for me is my own values, but can also be a source of conflict. So it's part of understanding humans. You need to accept that sometimes we encounter conflict because of our own personal values. So, understanding the four elements of sociology enables proper integration in a society. So, integration into the society is achieved by respecting, yeah, the very important word is respecting the diverse cultures that are found in society. Respecting. Not forget that. Sociology studies culture in a variety of ways. It's hard to understand human behavior, to be honest with you. Sometimes you're okay, tomorrow you're not, and there's a lot of reasons about it. Genetic makeup. So the last perspective is we're going to talk about the psychological perspective on cultural diversity. Social psychology is a subfield of psychology. So there is a big debate when you talk about psychology, no? There is a big debate in psychology and more generally in social sciences how to define culture. Because sociology is the study of human behavior, and sometimes in studying human behavior, it's quite difficult. It's unpredictable. So, in some definition, the concept of culture includes behaviors in the sense that behaviors are expression of culture. So that's the stand of psychologists, no? Culture includes behavior because your behavior are expressions of culture. So if you are aggressive type, meaning your culture is also practicing that aggressiveness, no, you are influenced by your culture. Number two definitions is participating in a culture means having understanding of our world. So if you are part of that culture, meaning you understand why you are doing that culture. The third debate is sharing a culture means that people have a common way of viewing the relationship with the social and physical environment, of communicating their thoughts, prioritizing their activities, and dividing tasks and resources. Again, if you share a culture, means that you have a common understanding of a lot of things. Yeah, I have a common understanding of your relationship with other beings. So when these things, when they do not share the above listed elements, then culture diversity occurs from a psychological point of view. So if these three debates do not blend to each other, your behavior is not an expression of your culture, you don't understand what you are doing, You don't share your own culture, meaning there is diversity, and that's the time that psychological point of view comes in. Sometimes again, in psychological point of view, if you do not understand what you are doing, if you are not sharing your culture with a common view, if you are not expressing your culture through your behavior, that's the time of cultural diversity. Can we still live in a harmonious way despite of our differences? The answer is how you cope up with cultural diversity. Cultural diversity is a thing. It's real. So as long as we are living, as long as we are practicing, as long as we are working here and then, cultural diversity will always be there. That's why people, if they cannot blend in, people resigned, people get out of that zone, people do not stay longer because of cultural diversity. The coping mechanism that we need to cope up with cultural diversity, because we are representing that of set of beliefs, practices, and that made us and that made humans very different from one person to another. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you are learning from this video. I hope that you are getting something out of this very quick video. Thank you for watching and thank you for subscribing. This is my lesson 7.1. Thank you and God bless you.